Did you watch the presidential debate?
I did not watch the most recent one between Kamala and Trump.
Why is that?
Honestly, I don't feel like either of those candidates said anything, and now in hindsight, that they added anything to their profile, to their campaign that I didn't already know as a voter. And I personally feel like they haven't done much to the American people to earn my vote. And if they're not going to let, independent candidates, which is my current disagreement with how the system is right now, if they're not going to let less prominent candidates into the debate just to hear what other people have to say, I think that it really wasn't worth my time to miss my homework that night. So I did not watch the debate.
I understand. So you're talking in sort of like the discontentment with the two-party system.
Yes.
What do you think is the biggest failing? Just not hearing those other voices?
I think it's just slowly over decades been driving our country apart. Even if you look back at just how civil our political system worked 20, 30 years ago. Of course, I wasn't around, but I've see clips of the sort of debate that we watch now. And it's just, there's so much closer than you really could possibly imagine today. And I see it's not even my discontent with the two-party system, it's the discontent that's being driven between families, between friends, and how that's affecting just relationships. I see that in my church, in my school, just in my community. And I want to see a world where our political system is not based on a binary red or blue system. I want to see more compromise. My dream, of course, in my discontent with the two-party system would be a Senate or a House where no party holds a majority, where there's pluralities. Maybe there's the most popular party, but no one party controls every bill that goes through. And you see pacts and you see compromises formed where two parties have to find what they can agree on, and that's the legislation that makes it to the White House, the executive branch. So,
Gotcha. That's awesome. What issues matter most to you as a college student?
as a college student, that's a very good question. I think I personally experience some of the reform that's allowed, lower income families into college, and I think that's important. I think the Pell Grant is a great program. I also think that federally subsidized student loans, that is as much of a business for the government as it is a resource for college students to get those, just a slight edge up on the private loan industry. I think that's important to provide, more educational access to get people into college. I also think that for public universities, there might need to be some federal regulation on what does tuition look like, what do fees and the total cost of attendance look like, and I think we could see some legislation surrounding that. That would be issues pertaining to me.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up. We can, since we're here on campus, we can talk about a little bit of that. What do you think is driving tuition prices so high?
Supply and demand. If they can keep driving prices up and they still get record enrollments every year, then there's no incentive for them to stop raising tuition.
It's a very good point. If people are paying for it, why not charge it, right? So yeah, that's interesting. We'll move on to, how do you feel about the current state of foreign policy?
I hate to say that I'm not as up to date as I'd like to be on our foreign policy. Personally, I just historically wouldn't say that we need to be the world police that we've been for the last 80 years. Since the UN has been founded, and NATO, and how obviously the United States still is the majority, over 50% of NATO contributions. I think personally we've overextended that bar of defending democracy across the world. I think that we do a little too much on too many fronts, and that's been hurting the American home, the American people for too long, as far when it comes to just economic stress on the system. Of course, so many politicians are making money off the military-industrial complex.
Absolutely.
You've got to ask, where are the politicians' minds when they vote, when they speak their minds on foreign policy? Is it the good of the American people, or is it the millions of dollars, I would say billions, it's probably billions of dollars spent on lobbying to convince these politicians of decisions made not on majority opinion, but majority of dollar opinion. Who can pay the most money for someone's decision in
That's
office.
that's really good you brought that up. A lot of young people that I talk to say they have a discontentment with how much money is in politics. Not only lobbying, but like just interest groups spending money to get into rooms with people, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think that there should be steps taken to try to take money out of politics?
Yes, but I wouldn't say that I'm the bright mind that has the magic idea to get money out of politics. Ideally, I would like corporate lobbying to be driven down, to be regulated, and all the dreams like that. But I really don't know how we would implement it because it's such an integral part of our politics. It's hard to think about our political system without the lobbying and the money that's been in it for far too long. So,
Yeah. Where do you get your news from? And then how often do you check that source or those sources? And then what role does social media play in the information you consume?
I would say that, obviously not the best, but I do get most of my news from my social media feed. I follow just a few different, Instagram pages where I spend most of my time on social media that, just get me the breaking news, the headlines. I try to stay out of any political media, like seeing politicians go and speak on their Associated News Network. I don't think that is much benefit to anybody. It's their representatives speaking to their audience to make them, increase their fervor for whatever color they stand behind, be it red or blue. So,
Thank you very much.